counting down the minutes to the first pitch of today's game.
Yes!
Who's in the starting lineup?
Come on, son, you got to get out there and take the mound. It's game time.
What does the skipper have to say?
It's an attitude, you got to be willing to defend. You got to be willing to base run, or you can't play here.
It's the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in the Friday edition of the leadoff show as we get ready for Game 2. Brewers and the Dodgers coming up tonight in L.A. First pitch just after 9 o'clock. Late night with the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with the franchise, Tim Allen and myself tonight. Starting pitching matchup tonight. Robert Gasser on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers. 3-4, 4.57 ERA, 61 strikeouts. Yamamoto, 11-7, 2.65 ERA for the Dodgers, 127 strikeouts. Before we get to the starting lineups, let's go over some of the news of the day. Abner Uribe, who, if you remember, we were yelling and screaming about why isn't he in the game on Wednesday when they decided to go with somebody different, Chad Patrick. And after the game, when Pat Murphy was asked, Pat Murphy said, well, we threw a lot of pitches this week and give him in a couple of days. So Saturday threw 20-some pitches, Sunday threw 30-some pitches. So he's over 50 pitches. He had already rested Monday and Tuesday, but apparently needed more time than that, according to Pat Murphy. So everybody's like, oh, I guess. So I guess you'll be ready for Game 1 of the Dodgers series. And we do not see Abner Uribe. Well, here comes news today that Abner Uribe has been placed on the 15-day injured list with a right forearm flexor strain retroactive to August 11th. Grant Anderson has been recalled from AAA Nashville. As far as what they're saying, Kurt Hogue says that Abner Uribe started to feel some discomfort after the back-to-back outings over the weekend. He said everything on the image, quote, came back good, end quote. It's a couple of days of rest and then get back to work, he said. Uribe also said, according to Adam McCalvey, that he had an MRI and was told the results were encouraging. He was able to play catch yesterday and today. Timeline for his return is TBD. Can we talk about MRI results in this Brewers baseball team? Because it's kind of frustrating, I think, from a fan perspective and a media perspective. It's everything's good with Bryce Terang. Yeah, we're good. But we're gonna have a second opinion on the MRI. But he's fine. He could play. He's fine. Okay. And now this thing here with Uribe, and it says the results were encouraging. Not that it was clean, but that's encouraging. Now, again, media guy, I understand. I kind of read that as in they were thinking it was worse maybe than it was, and it was encouraging that it wasn't as bad as they thought it was. I don't know how everybody else reads that, but I found that to be very interesting. Also, other updates, Kurt Hogue of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Terang is still listed as day today. Tomorrow will be a key day on an IL decision. Hitting is not bothering him. Meanwhile, Sal Frelick is, quote, not too many days away if playing in the field goes well. I can tell you, I saw come across X today that Frelick hit a 3-run homer for Nashville. So that's positive. And then Cooper Pratt could be facing a minimum IL stay, but will still need rehab at bats before he is able to come back and help out the Milwaukee Brewers. So that's the update on all the craziness going on with all these dudes that are hurt for the Milwaukee Brewers. And yet they still got to play a game tonight against the LA Dodgers.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
For the LA Dodgers, leading off, the designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second in center field, Andy Paez. Hitting third and in left field, Teoscar Hernandez. Hitting fourth and at shortstop, Mookie Betts. Hitting fifth and at second base, Tommy Edman. Hitting sixth and in left field, or I should say right field, Kyler Tucker. Hitting seventh and at third base, Max Muncy. Hitting eighth and at first base, Enrique Hernandez. And hitting ninth and catching, Hunter Fiducia. So it's Ohtani, Paez, Hernandez, Betts, Edman, Tucker, Muncy, Hernandez, and Hunter Fiducia for the Dodgers. For your Milwaukee Brewers, yet another different looking lineup. Garrett Mitchell leads off tonight for the Milwaukee Brewers. Batting second and in left field, Jackson Chourio. Hitting third and at first base, Jake Bauers. Hitting fourth and at third base, Andrew Vaughn. Hitting fifth and designated hitter, Christian Yelich. Hitting sixth and catching, William Contreras. Then the slap hitters occur. Seventh, Luis Lara in right field. David Hamilton is at second base batting eighth. And Joey Ortiz, who has been playing really well, is at shortstop and batting ninth. It's Mitchell, Chourio, Bauers, Vaughn, Yelich, Contreras, Lara, Hamilton, and Joey Ortiz. Those are your lineups for tonight's Game 2 action.
Did you miss the last game? Did you miss what was said after the last game? It's time to rewind. It's the Leadoff Show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's go back to last night. I know for certain many of you fell asleep or chose just to turn the game off and said, it's done. And I said earlier on Wisconsin Sports Daily, I'm guessing a lot of you turned it off after the sixth inning, right? You made it to the sixth. Dodgers throw up 3 in the sixth. They're up 4-2 after six. You're like, this one's over. Brewers aren't going to score. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Because I was sitting here watching it for the post game, and I didn't think they were going to score either. So I'm not much different than the rest of y'all. But I do the post game show, so I'm here and I'm watching regardless of what happens. So the Brewers get a couple runs. They're in the fourth inning off of Sasaki. A couple walks, score a couple of runs. Ortiz and Hamilton. The problem was they had ducks on the pond pretty much that whole inning, and they could only cash in 2 runs because of walks. They couldn't come up with that big hit. That, I thought, was going to be costly and potentially a reason of why they lost that game. Then in the bottom of the fifth, Rortvedt hit a single to left. Rojas scores. So it's 2-1 Brewers. Then to the bottom of the sixth, and Muncy crushes a ball that goes foul to right field. You're like, whew, okay, that's good. A couple pitches later, Drowan throws the exact same pitch to Muncy, and he kept that one fair and destroyed it. 426 feet. Edman and Freeman both score. Now it's 4-2 Brewers. It stays that way to the ninth inning. And here we go again. Ortiz and Hamilton, they both get on in front of Jackson Chourio, and Chourio does his job.
Runner goes. Hamilton. Chourio into right center. That's down a base hit. In to score Ortiz. Hamilton to third. Jackson Chourio with a 2-strike single.
Big hit for Chourio and the Milwaukee Brewers. That made it a 4-3 Dodgers lead at that point. Meanwhile, Garrett Mitchell wanted to get into the act.
Oh, and a line drive, base hit, right field. Hamilton scores. We are tied at 4. Garrett Mitchell comes through in the clutch.
Tie game, and it wasn't over yet.
Vesia from the set. And Bauers on the ground through base hit. Here comes Chourio, and he will score. And the Brewers take the lead in the ninth. Another 2-strike hit. Jake Bauers puts the Brewers in front.
Huge. Absolutely huge for a team that had lost 3 in a row, was down on themselves. They have a team meeting the night before after the game, about 15 minutes or so. Talk it out, and they come back chasing in the ninth, and they figure out a way to thankfully come up victorious after that game. Trevor McGill comes in, pitches the ninth, and all is well in the world. after the game, Sophia Minard was on the field with the hero, Jake Bowers.
You get the at-bat against Alex Vesia, just the at-bats that you saw in front of you, especially starting with the bottom of the order to give yourself a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little bit more along the lines of what we're looking for up and down the lineup. I mean, Sasaki was good tonight. He was landing his off-speed stuff, so it was tough to get anything going, really. But, to do that in the ninth and to rally and come back, it just felt like we needed it. Yeah, for sure.
And you said that yesterday, right? Sometimes you just got to chill out and take a step back.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Well, you wanted to get back to playing the kind of baseball that you guys are playing. What did you see with how you guys responded?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit dejected after the homer, but then after that, it was like, all right, we just have to have good at-bats here. I mean, we might lose this game, but let's go down our way. And, I think that's what we saw. So a lot of good at-bats in front of me to set that up. Just putting the ball in play the right way and, found some holes.
Shane Drowan pitched well, and as you said, tough to bounce back from that 3-run homer. But DL Hall, the 2 innings that he gave you guys, how much did that help just keep the score where it was to keep it close?
Yeah, he looked nasty. I mean, even from right field, he looked nasty. When he's throwing strikes like that, I mean, it's got to be a tough at-bat. And then, same with Dro, like the way he came out here and pitched, he pitched a lot better than his line, and I think pitching in this stadium too is going to be good for him going forward.
Coming off of that series in San Diego, the tough loss yesterday, did this feel like you guys needed this game or needed this kind of comeback win, Jake?
I mean, yeah, it's good. It's good. Hopefully it gets us going. I wouldn't say we needed it. It's a long season, and you're going to go through periods like that. It sucks and it's tough, but I think all you can do is just try and be in the moment as much as possible.
All right, JB, thanks for the time.
There's Jake Bowers, again, having a nice view on what this was all about. Like he said, okay, we lost 3 in a row. It's a 6-month season. You're going to lose a series. You may get swept in a series. And on top of that, he didn't say this, but I will. It's the West Coast, man. That's always tough for a team from the Midwest or the East Coast to go win games out there. It always has. You can go back and look at the last, 30, 40 years of Brewers history going out west. Go back and look at their history back in the 90s of going out west. Like, it's never, ever, ever been easy to go out west and try and get something done. It just hasn't been.
Line drive, base hit down the left field line.
Let's see what the skipper has to say heading into today's game. Let's head to the Coach's Corner. It's the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Now, coming up, we are going to have Spencer Michaelis. If you don't follow him on X and you are a Brewers fan, well, shame on you, because this dude is a must follow. A must follow. He's always putting out highlights of the different minor leaguers from all the different levels, giving you his thoughts on all the different minor leaguers, kind of giving you like scouting reports throughout the year on all these guys. Plus, he always has thoughts on the major league team. Must follow on X. We'll talk to him coming up here in about 10 minutes. Before we do that, I want to let you hear Pat Murphy from after the game yesterday, courtesy of Brewers TV.
That was a great team win for sure. The guys just stayed with it. And, they really battled all night. I mean, they're upset by how we've not been able to get across the finish line, successfully, and they're upset by it. And we talked about it yesterday, and they responded today by playing all 9 innings and using all 27 outs.
To do it in the way that they did it too, with good at-bats, base hits, couple bases loaded walks, did that feel like that was your team's baseball?
That's kind of how we've been have to do it. We faced great pitching tonight. I mean, that team has great pitching. I don't know how many balls were thrown over 100 miles an hour tonight, but a whole bunch against us. And to have that makeshift defense out there with Gary and Vonnie and guys playing different positions. I mean, Hamilton's probably got 1 game at second. Sanchez has probably got 1 game at first, and Vonnie's got a couple at third. To do that and to come through, and Drone pitched fantastic. His 3 walks hurt him. DL Hall lifted us, and McGill's been great. It's guys like Joey Ortiz and, hey, Sneaky Yelich had a really good night, man. He had some really hard, he got a home run robbed from him again, and the hard contacts tonight. And Vonnie getting on base 4 times, Bowers with the clutch hit, and Mitchell, Churio, 5 hits in that inning. That was just a great team effort, great team win.
Did any of those at bats in the ninth stand out to you?
I mean, all the hits did. Joey Ortiz got us going. We struck out to lead off the inning, and Ortiz, and then Hamilton a 2-strike knock when he hadn't had good at bats necessarily, and he responded really well. And Churio's 2-strike knock, I believe. Mitchell was early in the count, and then of course Bowers' big hit, and that was a great inning for us. Against really some of the best closers in the game.
What did you like most about Drone tonight?
Yeah, he went right at him. I mean, he walked people late. He was really tired in the 6th. We recognized that and could have maybe got him out sooner, but gave him a chance to get out the one lefty before Teoscar. And the Freeman ABS call was great on Freeman's part, but that would have been strike 3. That might have changed things, but it was time for him to get out. So 2 walks got him out, and it didn't work out for us in that inning. But
Once he at bat, did you get a sense from the dugout that maybe he was looking for a heater?
There's a lot to that at bat. I was hoping they'd throw a breaking ball in the dirt or a cutter in the dirt, but I knew Muncy was swinging, and I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. That was uncomfortable last night when we heard it on Brewers TV, and it's still uncomfortable today. And you hear Pat Murphy talking about it. He was clearly very clear that he did not like that pitch call. It was 100% against the decision we made to throw that pitch, because I think in his mind, he knew potentially what the end result of that thing was going to be. And, that's something really at the end of the day, you don't want to be calling pitches from the dugout. In youth baseball, you see some dudes like sitting on a bucket or standing up against the fence, and they're literally calling every single pitch for the catcher to the pitcher. It's just every single one. It's like, okay, then you don't want that to be the deal in Major League Baseball if you can't trust your catcher or you can't trust your pitcher. And there should be some type of communication, I guess, at some point between maybe manager or pitching coach and catcher and pitcher, kind of what you want, whether that's, Murphy whistling out to the pitcher and pointing to Contreras, throw him that. Like, I don't care what you want to do. You're going to throw what he puts down here, right? Or you have that conversation with Chris Hook and him at some point on the mound. What he calls, I want you to throw. No more shaking off or doing anything. You just throw what he puts down and let's go. Because a lot of times you are seeing guys shaking off Contreras or shaking off Gary Sanchez, doing what they want to do. And the catcher's like, okay, fine. I mean, you're the one getting to get, essentially in trouble if this goes wrong and a guy, tattoos a ball and you decide to make the call over me. That's something to kind of keep an eye on here for going forward too. We really have not heard Murphy really get that irritated over a pitch selection of somebody throwing against a certain batter like he definitely was last night. But the good news is the Brewers figured out a way to win that baseball game. Now have a chance to get game 2 tonight. Robert Gasser on the mound against Yamamoto for the LA Dodgers. After the last pitch, he'll make the switch right back here to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network for the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with the franchise Tim Allen and myself. Don't forget baseball coverage on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi, one price, 5 years, guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that. Coming up next, Spencer Michaelis, one of the most knowledgeable dudes talking Brewers baseball that you're going to find. He's straight ahead right here on the leadoff show. Live inside the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, time for the starting lineups for today's game. Brewers, Dodgers, Game 2. Robert Gasser on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll see how this goes today because he's got a tough competitor in Yamamoto for the Dodgers. For the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani leads off. Batting second, Andy Paez in center field. Teoscar Hernandez is in left field. Mookie Betts cleaning up. He's at shortstop. Tommy Edmonds at second base. Kyle Tucker's in right field. Max Muncy, who did damage yesterday against the Brewers, is at third base batting seventh. Enrique Hernandez is at first. And Hunter Fiducia, I think that's how you say it, the catcher, bats ninth. Ohtani, Paez, Hernandez, Betts, Edmund, Tucker, Muncy, Hernandez, and Fiducia. For the Milwaukee Brewers, leading off, Gary Mitchell is in center field. Jackson Chourio is in left. Jake Bauers, the hero from last night, he's in batting third. Andrew Vaughn's back at third base. Christian Yelich, the DH, batting fifth. William Contreras catching and batting sixth. Luis Lara in right field. David Hamilton at second. And Joey Ortiz bats ninth and plays shortstop. Mitchell, Chourio, Bauers, Vaughn, Yelich, Contreras, Lara, Hamilton, and Joey Ortiz.
The key to building a winner in baseball is a strong minor league system. Who are the names we should know? How did they play in their last game? It's time for Building a Winner. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Being able to play under someone like Coach Corbin and learn from him.
Frelick with a drive. Deep right field. Rodriguez back. Looks up. It's gone. Sal Frelick, welcome back to First Horizon Park. A 3-run homer to right on a sinker down and in. Frelick blasting one out to right field. His first home run and RBIs on this Brewers rehab assignment.
There is Sal Frelick from earlier tonight to talk more about the minor leagues and some major league talk too. Spencer Michaelis joins us now. You know him from the Brewer Fanatic podcast. And of course, you can follow him on X as well at smichaelis234. Spencer, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for making it work. I know I kind of made it difficult for you with my schedule.
Hey, the nice thing is when you do 100 shows on the station, I can always find a show to get you into depending on what time of day you need to get into a show. Let's talk about, first off, Sal Frelick and his rehab assignment. You know, he's still not to the point, it doesn't appear, of playing the field. Maybe he's doing a little jogging and so forth, showing a little bit of pop tonight. But, you know, Murphy made it pretty clear that before he comes back, that they wanted him to get back to doing what he was doing offensively last year, more so than what he was doing this year. What have you seen out of Sal Frelick, you know, this year before the injury compared to maybe what he was doing last year?
Yeah, honestly, obviously results-wise, it's been a lot worse this year. But in terms of a lot of the process stuff, it hasn't been a huge change. He probably overperformed a little bit what he was actually doing in terms of process stuff last year. And this year, probably the opposite, a little bit of underperformance compared to what he is doing in terms of batted ball. And he's chasing less than he had in the past this year. So there have been some improvements in some certain areas. But you didn't see much of the power, and it wasn't huge power last year, but obviously double-digit homers is something that the Brewers could use on a team that currently lacks in the power department. So I think just having good at-bats and stringing together, you know, showing he can go to the opposite field, maybe run into one like he did tonight, I think that's probably what they're looking for. And he is actually playing right field tonight. So
he is.
Time in the outfield. Yep.
All right, good. So hopefully he stays healthy and gets through this game tonight. And he has the home runs, even more better. The other thing that came up today was Abner Uribe. Now he goes to the IL. That was announced earlier this afternoon. Grant Anderson comes back up. That's a relatively big blow for this Brewers bullpen because Uribe has been dealing.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Obviously, both he and McGill kind of got off to slow starts, but both of them have been tremendous for the last few months here. And Abner especially has really just not been giving up much loud contact, a lot of balls on the ground, a lot of whiffs. That's when you know he's going well. So they're going to miss him for sure. We'll see how long it is. It kind of sounds like they don't think it's going to be a super long injury here, and that he's kind of expecting a few days down and then maybe start throwing right away within 5 or so days. So that's at least good news on the front end. But we've seen the story before where the Brewers maybe think a injury won't be a big deal, and then all of a sudden they're out a bit longer than expected. So we will have to see on that, I guess.
Just look at Wednesday when Pat Murphy was asked about Abner Uribe not playing Wednesday. And he said, well, he just needed a couple of days of rest. He had a heavy workload over the weekend. And obviously he was hurt or injured or however you want to phrase it at that point, and Murphy was covering. Meanwhile, we have Bryce Terang. Now, there's another one that interests me, Spencer McCallis, because when we talk about this dude, again, we start talking about MRIs. And again, it's like, oh, yeah, look pretty good, whatever. You know, I'm not ruling him out playing in this series, but he's going to get a second opinion on the MRI. That's never a good sign when somebody gets a second opinion. And then you see Kurt Hoag's video from earlier this evening from up above watching Bryce Terang attempt to walk. I don't feel any more encouraged than I did prior to seeing that video. They're saying tomorrow's a big day for the IL. I can't imagine he doesn't go on the IL based on how gingerly he was walking on the field earlier today.
Yeah, it definitely did not look promising. I saw the same video, and it looks like it's trending towards a pretty, I don't know the length, but I would say it's pretty likely that an IL stint is coming up, and they can backdate it a couple days because he's missed, obviously, the couple games here. But yeah, it definitely didn't look promising, and that is not ideal for a team already lacking in infield depth at the moment, healthy infield depth, and also just lacking in some of the better, offensive performance that they're not getting from a lot of players. And Bryce Terang is one of the better offensive performers they have. Spencer
McCallis of the Brewer Fanatic podcast. Definitely want to download it wherever you download your favorite podcast at. Make sure to check that out. And it's a absolute must. No questions asked. Follow on X at S McCallis 234. So I wasn't the most excited person in the whole wide world on the Dustin May trade. And at some point, I'll let it go in 20 years if these guys don't work out. Having said that, what were your thoughts on giving up Ragsdale and Frias, and your thoughts on both of those guys?
Yeah, it was a steep price to pay. May's obviously gotten off to a very good start his first 2 times out, and that certainly helps a little bit right now. But they were 2 of probably the biggest up arrow prospects in the entire system, maybe the 2 biggest up arrow prospects in the system. Frias, after the trade, I learned a little bit more about some of the concerns teams had, and there were rumors that, he had 117 mile per hour exit velocity. A lot of teams thought that was a misread and that his max was more like 112, which is a bigger difference, but it's also very good for an 18-year-old still.
Right.
So there's huge power. He's probably a right fielder, but he's got a cannon of an arm. In fact, some scouts thought if hitting doesn't work out, he could probably throw in the mid-90s on the mound.
Wow.
So he's just a tremendous athlete, but there is a very wide gap between the ceiling and the floor on that one. And I think the Brewers probably felt like they have a lot of guys who have higher floors and decent ceilings. And I'm sure that made them feel a little more comfortable with moving a guy like Frias. Ragsdale, on the other hand, he's a higher floor guy with more ceiling than I think anyone should have expected coming into this year. He was basically a slap hitter his debut season. And suddenly this year he's hitting 110 mile per hour homers. He's hitting for a ton of power. He kind of completely reinvented himself at the plate in one offseason, and that's impressive work. It does sound like they probably viewed him as a corner outfielder as well, not a center fielder. And when you're looking at the Brewers, that is something that they want outfielders who can handle center field. I mean, you look across the board, Sal Frelick was a center fielder. Lara was a center fielder.
Slap hitter.
Center fielder.
Yeah, he's got some pop. Right, yeah.
Right. But yeah, that is definitely something you'll be losing here with Ragsdale, is somebody who looks like he's got some pop. So it was a lot to pay. From the sounds of it, Dustin May probably had more value league-wide than I think what we as fans were probably thinking going into the deadline. A lot of people seem to think he was the second best rental starter on the market behind Skubal. I know Ken Rosenthal reported that Skubal, May, and Gaussman were the only 3 starters the Brewers believed would actually fit into a starting rotation in the playoffs for them. So the Brewers feel like they got the second best guy on the market. Whether people agree with that is definitely up for debate, but that's why they went out and paid as much as they did, and they did give up a lot. And the fact they went to the Cardinals will make it more difficult if they do end up panning out.
I'll tell you what makes me feel better about that trade.
About a week or so ago. Here's the 0-1. And Tunez swings and sends a fly ball high and deep out to left center field. Did he get enough? Yes, he did. Off the video board and left. And Tunez goes deep for the second straight game. And the Warbirds lead 3-1 in the third.
I mean, this dude here, Braylon Tunez, you put that post out on X that I just played, his 7th homer in low A ball in just 66 plate appearances.
Yeah, I do have to wonder if the Brewers internally were kind of viewing Frias and Tunez a lot closer than the national lists were, the team lists by Pipeline and Fangraphs and Baseball America. It does make you wonder a little bit if they thought there was a similar ceiling here. And early returns are showing that there probably is. I mean, this is huge raw power. It's a really smooth, simple swing. He's very athletic. He's very fast. He's handled center field so far. He also might end up having to move off of it, but there's a really high ceiling here. He's had some whiff and some strikeout issues, but they haven't really carried over to low A so far, which is encouraging. That'll be the thing to watch for him. But Braylon Tunez is, over the last month or so, probably, I talked about, Frias and Ragsdale being big up arrow guys. And Tunez has joined them. He is probably going to fly up some lists by the end of the year.
From one Braylon to the other, Spencer Michaelis, and that's Braylon Payne, who finally gets to move up in large part thanks to that deal moving Ragsdale, I think. He finally gets moved up to Biloxi, who, again, Blake Burke moves up, so they lose some power. They gain a little bit of power there with Payne. It seems like either the Brewers thought Payne was more highly coveted than Ragsdale, or maybe the Cardinals viewed Ragsdale higher than Payne. I'm not quite sure which, but Braylon Payne also is somebody to behold here as a future outfielder in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, the first-round pick a couple of years ago, probably a surprise first-round pick in most people's eyes.
Yep.
It did come out later that the Dodgers were prepared to pick him only a few picks later, so it sounds like probably around the league he was viewed a little bit more highly than most rankings.
But Spencer, when they drafted him, did you see this type of pop?
No.
Okay,
no,
good. Neither did
I did not.
I thought it was going to be another kind of defensive-minded first slap hitter. That's what I thought they took.
Yeah, it was interesting because he made it to low A Carolina at the time. In one of his first 2 games, I think it was, he popped an exit velo over 110 miles per hour, and that was like, oh, that was not something I thought he was going to have. He was only 17 at the time. And then now, yeah, we've seen home runs at 114 and 115 miles per hour off the bat this year, which both would, I believe, be the hardest of any Brewer in the big leagues this year. So the power he's shown came out of nowhere. He's a really, really good athlete. There's like Garrett Mitchell similarities here where there's some strikeout. He's a stiff athlete, so he probably will have some potential injury concerns as he continues to move up, but very fast, really good defender in center, a lot of raw power. And he's tapped into it this year in games, which is really nice to see for, again, a guy who's 19. And at Garrett Mitchell's same stage, Mitchell would have been a sophomore at UCLA. So he's well ahead of the curve in that regard.
I want to get your thoughts. Spencer Michaelis joins us again, Brewer Fanatic podcast. Make sure to check that out. You also got a Patreon too going, don't you?
Yep. Yeah. Backfield Brew. Really dive into the prospect part of things for the Brewers on that. That I started that in, I think, February, March. But weekly content, I've got my full top 100 prospects for the Brewers on there with write-ups and all that stuff if people are willing to and interested in diving into maybe even some of the lesser known names in the system.
What about some of the current Brewers draft picks that are already seeing time down in the minors?
Yeah, Sawyer Strohsnyder is in high A already. I kind of figured that's probably where he would head. His first hit was a 108 mile per hour opposite field triple. So showing the big power that there's really big raw tools for Strohsnyder, but also some swing and miss concerns and chase concerns and all of that. But already in high A, looking like you can see the tools on display already. And then the other two are Kyle Jones, their third-round pick out of Florida. He's in low A, off to a decent start, had a few hits. I don't believe he has an extra base hit yet, but he's had some opposite field singles, some RBIs. And then Karsten Sabathia has also had some singles, some runs batted in for the Warbirds down in low A. I would imagine we'll see Trey Ebel at some point in low A as well, but I don't know if too many others will make it there this year.
I want to get your thoughts on any type of pitching potentially coming from, I don't care if it's down in low A ball or even behind that at this point, because everything we talk about are these hitters and they have a ton of them right now. But I don't feel like there's ever conversation from anybody at MLB Pipeline or anybody that I hear or read anywhere else talking about any type of high-end pitching guys coming through this system. It feels like it's lacking right now. What can you tell me?
Yeah, it's definitely down from where it's been in most past years. Part of it is obviously you've graduated Miz and Henderson, and even Sprout and Gasser, and all of those guys have graduated from prospect status. But I would say there's a group of three that have like a clear-cut high ceiling. Not that they're all performing great this year, but that they have the stuff and the capability to, and that's Tyson Harden, Bishop Letson, and Josh Noth. All three of them have some really interesting stuff, plus pitches. Like Letson's got not the same velocity as Miz, but he's got a lot of characteristics similar to Miz in terms of the extension, the release height from a tall pitcher, but he's more 94, 95 with his fastball instead of triple digits. Tyson Harden has some of like the Logan Henderson fastball characteristics, and then a pretty interesting changeup himself. Pretty good cutter, slider combination. So he's interesting. He's been very solid in AAA until very recently. He started to get hit a little bit. He's already broken kind of past his career high in innings. He was a reliever only 2 years ago at Mississippi State. So he's kind of still building up as a starter, and I think he's wearing down a little bit as the season goes on. But he'd been very good in AAA until then. And then Josh Noth was a competitive balance pick a few years ago, had Tommy John after his first season, missed all of last year, came back this year, mid-90s fastball with like some sunny gray characteristics on it, kind of a cut ride fastball. And he'll spin breaking balls up to, he actually had a curveball at over 3,500 RPMs, which is would be amongst the highest in all of Major League Baseball on any pitch this year. So he's got a crazy feel for spin, interesting pitch mix, really, really athletic. And I believe he's 21 still and in high A. So none of them have great overall surface results this year, but I worry a little bit more with pitchers, especially about throwing a decent amount of strikes. All three of them have been pretty good in that regard. Letson started slow, has been better. And then having the type of stuff that can get outs, and I think all three of them fit that bill.
Brewer Fanatic Podcast, make sure to check him out. And again, you also have to check him out on X at S. Michaelis. What is it, 234? Is that what it is?
Yep.
234. S. Michaelis 234 on X. And of course, sign up for his Patreon as well, Backyard Brew. Hey, man, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take care. There he is, Spencer Michaelis, joining us here on the Lead Off Show on the Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that is all. We'll come back, give you the starting lineups one more time, give you some news and notes that the Brewers sent out to us today. That's all straight ahead. The Lead Off Show, live from inside the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here on a Friday night before Brewers Dodgers Game 2.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, a couple minutes left here. Pitching matchup tonight, Robert Gasser, the lefty, 3-4, 4.57 ERA. Yamamoto for the Dodgers, 11-7, 2.65 ERA. For the Dodgers, Ohtani, Paez, and Hernandez. Teoscar Hernandez, that is in left field. Betts, Edmund, Tucker, Muncy, Enrique Hernandez at first base batting eighth, and Hunter Fiducia is your catcher. For the Milwaukee Brewers, Gary Mitchell's in center field, Jackson Churio's in left. Jake Bowers, the hero from last night, bats third and plays first. Andrew Vaughn's back at third base and cleaning up. Christian Yelich, your designated hitter. William Contreras is catching. Luis Lara back in right field and bats seventh. David Hamilton is at second base. Joey Ortiz is your shortstop. So it's Mitchell, Churio, Bowers, Vaughn, Yelich, Contreras, Lara, Hamilton, and Joey Ortiz. Some notes from today's game as far as Robert Gasser goes. He's had one career start against the Dodgers. That was earlier this year. The Brewers lost 11-3. And that was back on May 23rd at American Family Field. 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 4 walks, 4 Ks, and 1 home run given up there by Robert Gasser. Gasser, obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, you may not have known this, but he is from California. He actually graduated from Oak Ridge High School in California. So we'll see maybe being back here in California. Maybe that leads to some good things. I don't know. We'll wait and find out. Career on the road for Robert Gasser, 2-3 with a 5.908 ERA in 8 starts. This year, 2-2 on the road with a 5.87 ERA in 6 starts this season. Not good. Just not good at all on the road has been Robert Gasser. So we'll see if it gets any better for him going forward. Trevor McGill, he closed the show down last night. He's retired 27 of his last 28 batters faced, with the only base runner coming on an intentional walk on Wednesday at San Diego. He has converted 14 straight saves. That's pretty good. He's also unscored upon in his last 9 games. He's also unscored upon in 24 of his last 25 outings while posting a .36 ERA. In his last 43 appearances, he has a 1.05 ERA, 49 Ks to only 8 walks, 5 earned runs in 43 innings pitched. To say that he has been pretty much not almost dominant, he has been dominant. That's pretty good. That is pretty good stuff for certain from Trevor McGill. One other thing to pass along as well, including last night, the Brewers have a major league leading 10 wins this season in games in which they trailed after 7 innings. Did you know that one? Major league leading 10 wins this season in games in which they trail after 7 innings. That's another sign of a really, really good baseball team. Hope you all enjoy the Brewers and the Dodgers tonight, game 2. Tim Allen, myself, right back here with you after the game on the air till 1 a.m. tonight with the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you after the game. Toodles!